Alright, this is John Cutler with DiscountJuicers.com. So we have another exciting episode for you, and I know this is an episode many of you guys may have been looking for or waiting for. And in this episode, I'm going to compare two juicers against each other. One very popular juicer and one not so popular juicer. Of course, the popular juicer I'll be showing you guys today is actually called the Breville Juice Fountain Cold. So this is the cold model, but technically the cold model is no different than any other Breville model. It just happens to have cold in the title to basically lead people to think that it is cold pressed or something, when it is actually far from that. In my personal opinion, this is a high-speed centrifugal ejection juicer, and every juicer has its pros and cons. You know, even the Breville, despite it running at high speed, has some pros about it. But in my opinion, you know, in this day and age, there are more cons to this style juicer. So whether you're watching this juicer for this video for the first time and want to maybe get a different juicer, because just like somebody emailed me earlier today, you know, after several months of use, their Breville juicer stopped working, and this machine only has a 1-year warranty, and they're looking to get something different, but they're concerned that it's going to take a bit longer to juice, you know. So the Breville is the fastest juicer. Will not jive you on that one, because I mean, it's hard to beat it, and in terms of speed, and I will be timing when I juice in a little bit for you guys to see how much faster it is compared to a slow juicer. But there are some significant benefits you're going to get with a slow juicer that you're not going to get with a high-speed juicer. And this model here is the Omega VSJ843. It's my favorite juicer, but just because it's my favorite juicer doesn't mean it should be your favorite juicer, or that you should necessarily buy it unless you're juicing exactly what I'm juicing and you're going to use it the way I show. Because otherwise, you could buy this machine. It could be the worst juicer in the world because it's not meeting your specific needs on what you want to juice the most and how you want to juice it, right? In addition, this machine has a 15-year warranty, you know, so despite costing maybe a little bit double, about double, I think, what that guy runs, you know, instead of 1-year warranty, if this fails in year 2, you got to buy a new one. This fails in year 2, year 5, year 10, year 11. You even know what you're going to be doing in 11 years? Basically, call Omega. Provided they're still going to be in business, which I think they will be because they've been in business now for over 30 years, one of the longest standing companies in America selling juicers, founded by Robert Leo, who I knew before he sold the company. But anyways, 15-year warranty. Year 11, yeah, you got a problem with it due to manufacturer defect, not because you broke it, your dog ate it, you put a knife in there. That is not covered under warranty. But if it fails due to no fault of your own, it should be covered under Omega, the warranty that Omega provides. And if you buy it from Discount Juicers, and this is one of the benefits from buying from Discount Juicers, is that I will ensure you get your warranty support from Omega, because it is important for me that my customers that buy a juicer from me are able to juice, because I know the power juicing could have to change your life. You know, I hear feedback from my customers all the time on how they lost weight, how it helped them overcome their health condition. You know, I myself was basically healed. I healed my autoimmune condition through juicing, as well as other dietary and lifestyle changes as well. And it's no secret why. It's because fruits and vegetables, the very items that you will put through the juicer, are some of the most nutritious foods on the planet that unfortunately most people are not eating, especially those dark leafy green vegetables that are very nutritious, but just most people just don't eat or don't like to eat salads. And that's why I like juicing, because it allows me to compress literally a pound of greens, you know, 1 pound tote from Costco, organic, run that through the juicer and get literally just 8 ounces of juice. And now I can basically got the majority of the nutrition out of the 1 pound of greens in just 8 ounces of juice. That allows me to get that into me so that I could derive the benefits from them. Now, before I get into comparing these two machines and I take them apart side by side so you guys could learn how they actually work, I want to get some studies involved. And you know, this is something that I really want to share with you guys. These are basically journal published science studies comparing slow machines to high-speed machines. So it's not just my rhetoric or the manufacturer's rhetoric saying things. It's basically 3 different published studies, and there are more if I wanted to look more of them up, talking about some of the nutritional differences when you juice in a high-speed or juice in a low-speed juicer. I mean, when you juice in both these machines, yes, you get juice out of both of them, but the properties of the juices are very different, you know. And depending on what nutrient or whatever you're looking at, whether that's enzymes, minerals, you know, this juicer or this juicer may fare better in that specific nutrient. But I like to kind of look at the overall picture on, in general, what juicer overall will give you the best, literally, nutrients for your buck of your vegetables, right? And that's why I choose the VSJ and not a high speed. I used to use a high speed. I got into juicing a long time ago when I was a wee kid with my parents. They had a centrifugal non-ejection juicer. I think it was an Oster. And then when I was a little bit older, I got a Juiceman 2 juicer, also a high-speed machine, but I didn't understand what I was losing by using those style machines. And there wasn't any science out back then. Now that there is science, I'm convinced that the slow juicing is the way to go if you want to get the optimal health benefits and the highest level of probability to help your health by using some of the nutrition that your juicer will create. All right, so just some really easy ones. Here's a study put out by it was actually in Korea, Bio Research Institute. It's influence of extraction method on quality and functionality of broccoli juice. So they use actually a slow juicer and a centrifugal juicer with broccoli. And let's see, conclusion. The broccoli juice made by the low-speed juicer contained higher levels of total polyphenols, total flavonoids, than the other juicers, and then the other juices. And they use basically raw broccoli, I think maybe blended, and then a high-speed machine. It said the broccoli juice made by the low-speed juicer showed higher free radical scavenging activity than other samples. So that means actually, you know, it can quelch more free radical damage. So maybe that could help you stay younger more effectively by drinking the same exact juice, because it has basically more of the antioxidant and free radical fighting properties. It says also broccoli juice made in the low speed juicer showed higher growth inhibition effects of HeLa A549 AGS-HT-29 cancer cells. So they basically put the juices in a petri dish, and the low speed juice had a greater inhibition effect, so the cancer cells were not able to grow as quickly, basically, is what they're saying. And then in addition, broccoli made in the slow juicer had the highest inhibition effects against alpha glucosidase. I think that's some kind of enzymatic reaction here that I'm not familiar with. So yeah, that's this study. And then moving on, the next study is right here. It's called The Quality Changes of Fresh Vegetable and Fruit Juices by Various Juicers. And I'm going to read part of the abstract. Abstract. A fresh vegetable and fruit juice has become a new healthy food available for detoxification, dieting, and health. This paper presents the useful information about the quality changes of fresh juice according to the different juicer. Quality of fresh juice could be evaluated by several factors such as juice yield, enzyme activity, antioxidant activity, polyphenol content, and anti-inflammatory activity. The juice yields of 12 different vegetable and fruits were compared using 6 different juicers, and it was observed that the yield of this slow juicer was better than that of a conventional blender. All right. Moving on, basically coming down to the end, it says, it can be concluded that fresh fruit and vegetable juice provides a source of antioxidant components and enzymes with high activity, and the enzyme activities could be used as one of the quality indicators of fresh juice. Concerning the juicers used in this study, slow juicer could be recommended to prepare the fresh juice in terms of the juice quality. On to the last study, and this study was basically done on mice, and I'm not a big fan of animal studies, nor do I condone it, but I'm glad they did this study so I could share with you so that we could get the benefits, and those animals did not have to lose their life in vain. It's called the hepatoprotective effect of fresh grape juice prepared by a low-speed masticating juicer in mice. Here's the abstract. This study investigated the hepatoprotective effect of grape juice preparing a low-speed masticating juicer or a high-speed juicer in mice. 6-week-old mice were fed an A1N-93G diet or a diet containing 1% freeze-dried low-speed or high-speed grape juice for 7 weeks. Treatment with the low-speed grape juice significantly decreased hepatic triglyceride, serum aspartate, transamine activities, and homeostasis model assessment for insulin resistance values, whereas high-speed juice did not significantly influence these parameters. The low-speed grape juice showed higher antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activities than the high-speed juice. The benefit of low-speed grape juice are probably due to a much higher proanthocyanidin content than the high-speed juice. These results suggest that the low-speed grape juice can exert hepatoprotective effects in DB/DB mice, partly through improving insulin resistance and promoting antioxidant and inflammatory activities. So, I can't make any medical claims that you're going to get some of these same effects. Looks like it decreased, several different blood markers for insulin resistance when they used a slow juicer versus a high-speed juicer. And that is the difference. Some of the different nutrients extracted in your juices, I like to call these phytonutrients or phytochemicals, maybe, known by different names as proanthocyanidins, lycopenes, all these different amazing compounds, like over 25,000 different compounds I think they've identified, and they haven't identified a lot. And it is these very compounds that I believe, have the majority, it's the reason for the juicing, right? It's the main reason why the juicing is so beneficial, because it unlocks these nutrients, makes them more bioavailable for us, and we could get them into us. But if we're losing them in the juicing process, then they're not going to be as effective in our bodies, which is what this study shows, all right? So enough about that. Let's get into comparing these two machines. These two machines are both juicers, which is correct, much like, a Volkswagen Beetle or a Bug is a car and a Corvette Stingray is a car. They both get you from point A to point B, and they both do it very differently, right? One's high performance and one's kind of low performance, economical. And same with these machines, right? This is the high-speed machine. I'll explain how it works. It basically has a 3-inch wide feed chute, which many people like because it's like, oh, I don't have to cut stuff. I can just throw it in there. Which, yes, on one hand is really good because it has a wide feed chute, 3 inches wide. You could put whole pieces of produce in there. If you get smaller diameter apples, you can just put them in there without cutting. The negative thing is, as it gets down to the bottom of the feed chute, it then runs into this cutting blade. And this cutting blade is running at 13,000 revolutions per minute. It has these little sharp teeth that are sharp enough to cut your finger if you wanted to do that, so you got to be careful using this. These blades will also dull, and that's something Breville doesn't necessarily tell you, that after using your juicer a while, these blades will dull, and you will need to get a new basket. And in some cases, the baskets are not available for certain models, from what I hear. And then basically the produce is then micro shred, and then as it's micro shred, juice is released, which then is like, this thing is spinning around. It is basically flung through this screen, which is actually fine holes, so that means that's going to be very little pulp in the juice, which is a pro and a con. And then the juice gets kicked out, pretty much not by gravity, but by basically air brushing it along, because if you look at this little spout, this spout is at actually the top of the bowl here. So basically the juice in the bottom won't come out because gravity will bring it down, but because there's so much air current in there, it basically blows the juice out. So when I'm juicing, I want you guys to see the juice being blown out of the carafe there. So because this happens at high speed, that introduces more oxygen into the juice, and which causes oxidation of the nutrients. And that's number one. Number two is that when you're micro shredding things, that may not be the most effective way to break open cell walls, right? While it does break open some cell walls, it may not release nutrients from seeds and skins, like in the study they did with the mice. In my opinion, one of the reasons for the benefits of a slow juicer is that it literally grinds up the skins and the seeds more effectively, and you'll get some of the nutrition out of that, whereas this high-speed style, it just basically grinds stuff up, kicks it out, and you're going to be missing a lot of the valuable phytonutrients based on the studies, right? So that's the two things. And then the other thing is, because this feed chute's so large, there's what I call minimal blade contact time. This thing is running so fast that you put something in there it hits the blade in a fraction of a second. It basically just gets ejected out. So there's not a whole lot of time for the juicer to act upon it, to grind it up, to literally squeeze out and be more effective. This could really cost you when you're juicing some things like the yield, right? The yields on softer items and really watery items like tomatoes, if you check the pulp like we will when we're done, it's going to be very wet because it's just basically you putting it in, it's getting micro shredded, it's being kicked out as fast as you put it in so that you can be done quick. And once again, being done quick is a pro, but you know, to me, mostly it's a con. And you know, my grandfather taught me that if you're gonna get a tool, you want to use the right tool for the right job. And while juicing this juicer does work and is better than not juicing, so I would much rather have you guys, you know, use a high-speed machine such as this instead of like drink a Coke or a soda. That's probably about the same amount of time to open up. You know, it'd be far better, especially if you're doing this for your health, trying to reverse some kind of illness. In my personal opinion, I mean, I would go with something like this that would provide more nutrition, maybe take a little bit more time, but you know what? Here's the thing. You are the most valuable person on the planet. To you, I hope. Maybe your husband or wife is. But without you, you can't do anything. Without your health, you can't do anything. So you are worth the time, and I know a lot of you guys are really busy, have to go to work, have to do this, have to do that. But I encourage you guys to take a little bit of time to make your juice. Every day or two, I basically spend an hour and a half in the kitchen juicing, and I'll juice over a gallon in a sitting, so I have juice for the next couple days. And I do that because I'm worth it, and I know that when I drink the juice, I feel great. I have more energy to do all the things I need to do, and I am worth the investment, and you guys are too. So I want you guys to take this seriously, all right? Now, another negative about this style machine is that, you know, it runs really fast, which is good, but it's also really bad, because we'll turn this on high, click it on, and it's been described to me as an airplane taking off in your kitchen. It's like the turbines coming on. So we're going to go ahead and take this sound meter, and the sound meter is peaking out at like 80 decibels when I'm holding it like right here. If I get closer to the unit, like at 85 decibels, so it's actually quite loud. Now what you guys aren't seeing is that it's sucking air in through here, and it's really blowing an air cone out. So I have this little paper streamer thing that I made, and if we put that on there, you guys can see, I mean, it's really making the streamer go up. You know, hey, that's great if you like want to blow your hair and have cool modeling pictures in your girl with nice long hair so it looks cool for the shot. But it's bad for your juice because it basically adds significant oxygen into the juice. And wow, I can stop talking a little loud, although I talk loud anyways, all right? Now, I guess we're going to go ahead and let that quiet down. Now I want to turn this guy on for you, right? This guy runs at a low and slow 43 RPM. That's like significantly like 300 something times slower than this guy. Turn this guy on. That is nice and quiet. So we're going to go ahead and decibel this for you guys. I'm seeing like 62, and if I put this right close, I'm seeing like 69. So that's significantly less. What is it? 69 to like 85 or so, 84 was that, you know? So it's like 15 points in the decibel. So what does this mean to you? This means if you got to juice early, like most people got to go to work, you could wake up early, basically juice with this and not wake up your family, whereas that, it ain't happening, man. You're going to wake people up. If you have walls that are razor thin or paper thin, and you got your neighbors always hitting on your walls because you're being too loud, yeah, don't get this one because they're going to be beating on your walls a lot, right? So that's another reason to get this. Now, the difference in this one is that the way it works. So, you know, unlike this guy that has a 3-inch wide feed chute, this feed chute is a lot smaller. So that means you will need to pre-cut some items before juicing. You know, some items as like a cucumber, you just got to slice it in half lengthwise. Carrots that are really fat diameter, you got to slice lengthwise. Other carrots you could probably, you know, just put in whole. And that's the feed chute on this. And then this works a lot differently. So unlike that has a sharp blade, this has no sharp blades in here. You can't cut your fingers on this or anything like that. And how this works is that there is an auger in here a single auger, and as you put the produce in, and basically the auger comes around and chunks off a piece, and then basically it crushes, grinds, and squeezes or presses out the juice as it goes down the auger. As it goes down the auger, it's basically shoved in this screen, so as the area between the auger and the screen gets smaller and smaller, and as the produce is ground up, it releases juice. So this is a lot more effective at juicing things like seeds and getting the nutrition out of the skin compared to that machine, which is, I believe, where some of the main benefits of some of the produce, is contained. One of my favorite things to juice in this is actually the little pomegranate areoles with the seeds. You put that through here, it makes the most delicious pomegranate juice that you've never tasted. I have a video on that somewhere. I love that juice a lot. And then in addition, there's basically a wiping blade. So this goes around, instead of blowing the juice out, the juice is all basically comes out through gravity. There's this wiping blade that then spins around on the screen, helping to keep the screen clean, because the screen is the hardest part to clean on the Breville. And then that helps keep the screen clean, wiped down, and also the juice flowing out of the machine. Finally, on this machine, you have the bowl here, which then you have a little black flap. The little black flap should be put in for juicing and removed for cleaning. That provides a little bit of back pressure on the pulp to make sure that it comes out more dry than it otherwise would. In addition, unlike this machine, where you do have a little cap thing that you can twist up to prevent drips, this has a little spout cap, which is really nice. All right. Assembly on this machine might be difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, super simple. You're going to take the wiping blade, the juicing screen, pop that in. You're just going to drop this guy down in there. Super simple, super easy. Drops in all the way. You're going to put the auger in. Auger goes in, then you're going to spin it around to kind of go into the little groove in the wiping blade, and then the top goes on with a little orange arrow there, and it takes it straight back, and then rotate it to the other arrow on the machine. If you do that, then the machine comes on, and once again, it is nice and quiet. So this is going to be slower, but produce more nutrition in the juice. Also, it's going to be a lot more effective at juicing something like fruits, right? This will get a higher yield on fruits than that machine will. In addition, if you guys want to include lots of leafy greens, this machine you can put greens in, and literally it'll kick out whole chunks of leaves, whereas this will grind up the leaves and get the juice extracted out of it for you. So more juices end up in your glass and not the collection bin. Furthermore, in many cases, you can take the pulp that comes out and then rejuice it. There are special techniques to do this. If you remember, I'll put a link down below to a video, I guess, how to get up to 25% more juice out of your pulp. And there's some techniques you could use to do that, and you could get even a higher yield. Whereas if you put the pulp back through this machine, it's just basically going to spit it out as fast as you put it in. You're going to get a little bit more juice, but it will make an incredible mess, because I've done it before. All right. Also, I already said 15-year warranty, 1-year warranty, high speed, slow speed, preserves more nutrition. I guess what more could you ask for out of the slow juicer? I love the slow juicer. After I learned about the slow juicer, I basically never went back to the high speed juicer unless I'm going to make a video like this, all right? So I guess the next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and juice the same exact recipe in both these machines. We're going to come back at you with all the produce and get a weigh-in. I'm back. I'm all set up, got my produce washed, and we're ready to do the weigh-in for you guys. We're juicing organic celery, organic cucumbers, and some Swiss chard right out of my garden. All right, let's go ahead and do the weigh-in. Over on the Omega VSJ843 side, looks like we got exactly 2,000 grams. And over on the Breville cold side, looks like we also have 2,000 grams. We'll give you guys a close-up on both scales at the same time. 2,000 grams on both scales. Let's get ready to juice. Now we got a weigh-in to confirm. We got a fair and square fight. We're going to move these scales out the way. And the other thing I'll be doing for you guys today is actually we're going to go ahead and use a stopwatch timer so you guys could see how fast or how long it takes to juice in each machine. Now the other thing we're going to do is we got the Pulp Collection bin that comes with the Breville. We're also going to use the juice catch cup that comes with the Breville, which is highly advisable, because you guys are going to see the force that literally the juice comes out of the juicer, basically with all the air pushing it, and it's going to make a real racket in the juice. So if you try to use like a regular cup, it could literally the air force could like blow a mess on your countertop. Meanwhile, on the VSJ843, if you guys can see it over here, I'm using basically a plastic collection cup. Ones like this come with the juicer, as well as a nice, more fragile measuring cup from IKEA that fits perfectly. That's glass. Alright, first we're going to go ahead and juice in the Breville. We're going to turn this on high, hit the start button, and we're just going to start putting this stuff through here. Alright, well I forgot to start the stopwatch. But if I look at the video, I can see how long it took. But literally, I mean, that probably took less than a minute or so. That's usually what it takes me. Literally like a minute to juice. We made approximately, according to the measuring cup here, like 1,200 milliliters. So next, let's go ahead and juice in the Omega VSJ843. Now keep in mind, you know, on the VSJ843, we will have to prepare some of the produce, and we're going to have to pre-cut some of the items. Basically, the celery is going to get cut up into 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch pieces, along with the Swiss chard, and the cucumbers need to be cut in half. So I like to basically multitask as I'm juicing. Unlike this machine that basically you must use the pusher to kind of push things in, I really like the slow vertical juicer, not only because it's quiet, not only because it makes a higher quality juice with more phytonutrients, but also because it's literally self-feeding, provided you cut things up properly. It'll just accept things in so that you don't have to do any pusher. Actually, the thing is, I left the pusher in the box. The box is stored away, and I don't even know where it is because I don't even use the pusher, and do not encourage you guys to use the pusher either. You know, coming from the Breville, where you just basically cram anything in any old order, and it doesn't really matter so much. You know, the VSJ and other vertical juicers, you know, you need to use it properly. Otherwise, it could be the worst juicer you ever bought. So please be sure to watch a video I have linked down below entitled Juice Like a Pro in Any Vertical Slow Juicer. I share with you guys about 10 different you know, techniques or practices I do in the VSJ, such as pre-cutting, such as giving it some time to work, and a few other things, so that you could get the best results out of it. If you're going to do straight celery in it, I have a video posting, link down below if I remember, how to do straight celery. You got to follow my procedures exactly. If you're not good at following directions, then you might want to get a different style of juicer, because if you don't follow the directions on this machine, it might not turn out too well for you. Let's put it to that way. And if you don't want to follow my procedures exactly, that's all right. Please get a different juicer. I would recommend an Omega NC800, which is kind of going to give you a similar quality juice. But then you got to push each item in. That machine takes up more counter space, and it's not quite as fast to use. This is one of the fastest vertical juicers that I've tested. Now, some people might like that wide feed chute vertical juicer, but know this: even on wide feed chute vertical juicers, you should still properly pre-cut your greens and your celery. So in this case, we would just not have to cut the cucumbers, but we would still have to cut up the other items when juicing in a wide feed chute, such as the Kuvings or the Omega MMV700 model. So, you know, because of those models don't get as high yield and maybe put more pulp in the juice, for that reason I prefer this model more with a smaller feed chute, because some items you got to pre-cut anyways. Alright, so let's try to do this as efficiently as possible. We're going to go ahead and hit the start button and confirm it's on this time and turn it on. And we're just basically going to take our cucumber, slice it in half, slice it lengthwise, and then we're going to get this going in the machine. You want to let this, you know, always have the machine kind of working for you while you're cutting things up. We're then going to take a big bunch of celery, and we're just going to go along the line and chop, 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 like basically 1/8 inch is the goal. If I make 1/4 inch pieces, I'm not going to complain to myself. And we're going to take basically a handful of these, drop them in there. As that's working, we're going to chop a little bit more. Chop, chop, chop. We're going to go ahead and drop in the next cucumber. As that's juicing, we're going to chop some more. So you can see how it could be very efficient by multitasking, because you know the slow juicers do take some time to work, and you should provide them some time to work and not just try to shove everything in as fast as you can. If you shove things in too quickly, it can lead to problems when you're juicing. All right. Let's go ahead and fold these guys over onto themselves a couple times to break them up. And then once again, we're just going to chop these up. Once again, 1/8" pieces optimal, but I will settle for 1/4" pieces. Now the reason why we're chopping is because the strings that are contained within the stems of these vegetables can block up the ejection port, because the produce as it's coming out has to take a right angle turn, and I'm talking too much, and that's going to artificially inflate the juicing time a little bit. So please pay attention to that. Alright, so that's basically the process. I like to put in something, you know, soft like a cucumber, and then follow that with some kind of leaves, followed by the celery. And just keep repeating this process until you're all done. And what I'm going to do to save some time for you guys is we're just going to go ahead and speed this video up for you guys. And we're going to come back at you pretty much when we're done. Alright, I'm almost done juicing in the Omega VSJ843. Always best to stop on something that's pre-cut, and in this case we got the pre-cut bits of celery. That's going to always juice a little bit better at the end, like something hard to push, like the celery, like carrots would also be good, like beets would also be good, because sometimes whatever you put in last will be stuck in the auger. Well, when you take the machine apart, if you have more chopped up things that are small and in pieces, then it's more likely to actually just run through the juicer instead of get stuck inside the juicer, alright? I think I got like one more handful of celery bits to put through the machine. Now the important thing is when you're done juicing in the Omega VSJ843, you want to just not put the last item in and then turn off the machine instantly. If you literally hear it still kind of crunching up and juicing, then the machine is still working and you will want to let it continue to work a little bit longer. If you see juice still coming out at a pretty good clip, then that's a good sign that it's still working. And if you see the pulp continuing to kind of come out and move, that means it's also working. In this case, looks like we're pretty much stopped, so we could go ahead and turn this off. Let's hit stop. So it literally took us 6.6:46, maybe say 6.5 minutes if I didn't talk so much. And so 6 minutes compared to like, I would say like a minute, so that's like takes me 6 times longer. And then, the last thing I like to do, I like to put that on reverse, see if we get any final juice out. Do reverse, or actually hit reverse here, and then hit forward again. And then I'll also tip this guy up a little bit, and you guys you could hear it juicing a little bit more, getting a little more juice out, but not a whole lot. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and close that spout cap, turn that off, and we actually got 2 pitchers of juice from the VSJ because I didn't want to overflow this pitcher. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take these measuring cups, which are actually 200 milliliters. I'm going to line these up for you guys, and we're going to pour in the juices. There's a little bit of remnant water in there. So we're going to pour in the juices so you guys can see. So definitely the Breville juice is definitely more pulp free than the VSJ, but the VSJ, another reason why I like it is because it makes the least amount of pulp in the juice of all the different vertical juicers I've tested to date. Alright, so that's all that juice, and then this is all this juice. So this, I think this made around 300 milliliters in that container there, and I had 1,000 even on that other one. And on the Breville, we could also tip this guy up, get some extra juice out of there. Not a whole lot left. Could pour this pitcher in. Alright, here comes all the foam. Alright, so the Breville made significantly more foam. So what is foam? Foam is basically oxidized juice. Foam is not necessarily a desirable thing. And so next thing what I want to do for you guys is actually do a close-up on the yields. Let's go ahead and compare the juices. First I want you guys to look at the foam over on the Breville. Basically a whole foam layering on there. It even takes up like, I don't even know, like what, a quarter cup of foam. And then over on the Omega VSJ, yeah, there is some foam, but it's very little foam if I kind of pull back and compare the foams there. Foam, once again, oxidized juice, and that causes more rapid oxidative damage to the juices. I guess, lowering the antioxidant content from the studies. And then if we look at the actual yield, looks like it's like right at the 6. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like below the 6. I'd say that's a good solid, a little bit above 5.75 cups. And over on the Breville side, looks like we got basically maybe 560 is probably my best guess. 550, a little bit above 550. 560. So yes, I mean, of course, very close in yields, but the VSJ actually did make more juice, but not a whole significant amount. Alright, so you guys saw the yield comparison. The VSJ actually made more, so what does that mean? That means you will save money and time over produce costs. And depending on what you're juicing, the yield may be a little bit more, a lot more, or maybe even a little bit less. In my tests, sometimes the high-speed juicer is a bit more efficient at making something like the carrot juice, because hard root vegetables, they really excel at making a high yield, although based on the studies I've seen, there'll be less nutrition. Now, of course, I could show you guys the actual yields. I could show you guys the color, the air bubbles in there. And if you look at this juice, it's a bit darker, and I believe that to be because of the oxidative damage. Like if you cut open an apple, it turns brown, and that's a darker color due to the oxidation, not necessarily due to the higher nutrient content. And this is what I believe to be true. But at the same time, a darker juice could mean also higher levels of certain phytonutrients. So which is it? Well, the best way to know is to use your taste buds, because your taste buds will not lie. They will tell you what juice tastes better to you and what juice is more nutritious, because we'll be able to taste it. If it tastes like water, then guess what? It's more like water than juice. So let's go ahead and taste the Breville juice first. And I wish you guys were here to do the taste test, because I've run this taste test in front of live demos when I've done live demos at different conferences and retreats. And 9 people out of 10, or sometimes 10 out of 10, will say the slow juice tastes way better. I remember doing this recently, well, not so long ago, using watermelon. High-speed watermelon juice versus low-speed watermelon juice. Man, you could taste the difference. People want to go for the one that tastes better, because that's also more nutritious. And then also, you'll be more juice compliant. What does that mean, juice compliant? That means you'll drink your juice, you'll make your juice more often, because it tastes better, all right? Breville juice up first, taste test. I mean, to me, that's a good juice. There's a good amount of cucumber in that juice. But to me, this almost tastes like drinking water. I mean, I gotta say, it is really smooth. There's no pulp detectable when I drink that. Now let's go for the VSJ843. Now, we did not stir either of these juices, which might be a good idea, because all juices will settle no matter what juicer you use after time. Yeah, so that's still a watery juice, but I'd say there's this much more flavor to it. Not quite as watery. I'm tasting more nutrition, and I really want you guys to experience the difference. ETD, man. There's no substitute for you trying the juices yourself and seeing for yourself which one you prefer, man. And if you guys prefer the one that tastes more watery because maybe you don't like strong juices, use that machine. If you want to be done super quick, and otherwise you're not going to use a machine that takes 6 times longer to get the nutrient quality, the higher nutrition levels, that's your choice. I'm just here to show you guys what actually happens when you juice the same exact items in both machines. Now, next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and move these juices aside, because I want to show you guys something really important, which is actually the pulp. I'm going to drink the rest of this. That's good. So here's the pulp the VSJ843 created. I'm not going to tell you this is completely dry because this is wet, but if we ran it through the juicer again, it would definitely get it more dry. Of course, the pulp on the bottom, which I just dumped out, is going to be more wet than the pulp on the top, but even the pulp on the top, if we grab it, because we did use a fair amount of cucumbers, you can see there's a fair bit of moisture in there. Now likewise, right, we take the Breville. In the back of the Breville, there's a lot of pulp really stuck in the back of the machine that did not get ejected. And if we dump this out here, it looks like it's pretty ground up to a fairly fine texture, but it's still rather wet due to a lot of the cucumbers in there. And if we take out this Pulp Collection bin, and we'll dump this on here very carefully. This, once again, the pulp at the bottom is always really wet. And if we carefully sift through the pulp here, I mean, you could see pieces of celery that did not get juice. I mean, here's just like a little stem of the celery. I saw something come out, like a nice slice of a cucumber that did not get juiced. Slices of cucumbers. You know, here's a part of the chard leaf that did not get juiced. You know, there's lots of, things, another piece of the celery that did not get juiced. And likewise, we could pick up this pulp and squeeze it, and to me, this pulp is a lot more wet. I mean, also as evidence that we actually made, you know, maybe 100, 150 more milliliters, maybe 200 more milliliters of juice in the VSJ. Now, the cool thing is, on either of these machines, you could actually take the VSJ and squeeze out the pulp more. So I want to show you guys how much more juice the VSJ could actually get out of the Breville pulp, which is right here. So we're just going to take handfuls of this pulp, drop it in the machine. Now when you do this, this may clog and jam the machine, especially if you're not using it properly in the first place. So you will want to be careful when doing this technique. Another technique I like to do is take handfuls of pulp and then put a brand new carrot in. So put a handful of pulp and then, drop a small carrot in there. That'll ensure that the old pulp is juiced more effectively, because now you got that nice, hard, firm carrot to help push through that soft pulp, because a soft pulp generally doesn't necessarily go through the juicer, a vertical juicer, the second time all that well, although I find that the VSJ does this the best. And this is exactly the process I would use to make a nut milk in the VSJ, and if I remember, I'll put a link down below to that video, how to make nut milk in the VSJ. Which is something else I really like to do. I made coconut milk earlier this week, and basically you're just going to take the mature coconuts with water, coconut water or regular water, blend it up in the blender, and then pour that mixture through the machine. It's basically going to separate out the juice and the pulp like it is today. So I think some of this pulp is maybe a really soft texture, so it's kind of not really coming out the machine, because you always want to make sure that the pulp is getting ejected. So this might not be the best idea to do with just pulp alone. We would probably, behoove us to actually use some carrot to kind of alternate to help push that soft pulp through. All right, yeah, we finally got the pulp coming out, and it is now, that pulp coming out is significantly drier because the VSJ is really squeezing out the extra juice out of the pulp that the Breville was not able to get the first time through, right? And this is literally the power of the VSJ. Not only can you rejuice the pulp, like effectively actually, you can also make things like nut milks. Using the VSJ, you can also make things like frozen fruit sorbet and nut butter, which I will put a link down below. You do need to follow my specific procedure if you do want to make a nut butter or the sorbet. All right, so we're putting the last bits of the pulp in there, and this is actually be a good time to have a pusher. Because I don't use a pusher, I usually just use an extra carrot, because there is some pulp that is actually not going to get juice because it's actually not going through the machine. And if you are rejuicing pulp, it does take the machine some time to work, so you will need to give it some time to extract all the pulp. This does not happen instantly. All right. So I think we're just going to let that run for a little bit, and we're going to come back at you when it stops. Alright, so I think we pretty much got all the juice we could out of that pulp. that we rejuiced. And if we look very carefully, I mean, we've nearly made 16 ounces of juice. If you look on here, I think it's maybe about like around 400 milliliters of juice. And this juice is even darker, so we're going to go ahead and try this. Now, I do need to give you guys a warning. If you guys do rejuice your pulp, right, this juice will be a lot more pulpy than the first time through, because already you're running pulp through that's been ground up. You're running it back through, so this will be extremely pulpy, especially more than just the original juice we made. So you will want to use a sieve if you do not want the pulp in there that may not be as desirable for you. Wow. I gotta say, this juice tastes the best. It's just the rejuiced pulp. I think I'm gonna sit here after the video's over and then rejuice my VSJ pulp along with a carrot. It's gonna work a lot better, and I'm gonna get more yield. And so that is the benefit of using a slow juicer. Not only will you make more juice, not only will you be able to get your produce more dry, not only will you make higher nutrition, but with the VSJ843, you're also gonna have a 15-year warranty, and it's going to be quieter. I mean, for me, the VSJ is the way to go. I will, any day of the week, you know, be the slow tortoise instead of the fast hare, because when you're doing and juicing fast, you are losing some nutrition as well as the phytonutrients, which are very valuable to me. Plus, also, you're going to be, in the long run, losing yield, especially when you can rejuice your pulp to get the driest produce. Actually, I want to show you guys some of this that came out. I could take the pulp that came out of this, and you guys can see it's really broken down now. I could squeeze that, and barely any juice comes out of it. So that's actually quite impressive. But by the time I was done juicing, there's a lot of pulp stuck in the feed chute there, so we should have used a carrot to kind of jam it through at the end to kind of get all that juice out. Alright, so I guess in the end of this episode, I'm about to declare the winner. The VSJ843. Not only did it make more juice, not only did it make a more nutritious juice, more tasty juice, scientific studies show the benefits of using a slow juicer. I just like it more because it's also quiet, and I know that I'm feeding my body the best, and you are worth the best, so I want you guys to take the time and make the investment in the VSJ. It's probably one of the last juicers you guys will need to buy. I've been using mine faithfully for many years now, and it's still my favorite juicer after all these years until I find something better. And trust me, I test juicers all the time, and nothing has come out that I like more, that is more efficient, that saves me the most time being a slow juicer than this one right here. Didn't get to mention too, this one only takes me 3 minutes to clean. It is the easiest vertical slow juicer that I've cleaned and found to date. Alright, if you guys want to purchase this machine, hey, check the link down below. To purchase this directly from me at Discount Juicers. I would appreciate if you guys are buying a juicer to buy it from me. If this video has helped you shed some light, to give you information that the manufacturers may not be telling you, to give you guys an honest comparison of the different machines so that you guys could determine the best machine for you. If you've checked my other videos, over 500 videos, and this has helped you concrete your decision so that you guys could buy the right juicer, please support me. This allows me to continue to make these educational videos, continues to allow me to buy my produce and grow my produce in my backyard so that I can make these videos for you and educate the world about the power of juicing and the different juicers that each have their own sets of pros and cons, and I try to lay those out for you guys so that you guys can make the most informed decision for you. So I appreciate your support. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also be sure to share this video with other people that use a Breville and think they're going to get the highest quality nutrition and highest yield, and it's always the best juice. You know, hey, please share this video with them. Also, please share this on other social media outlets so they can become aware of some of the differences between a slow juicer, which is my favorite, versus a high-speed juicer. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I've coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know what or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. Finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel, dedicated to comparing and contrasting and sharing with you guys all the appliances that will allow you to get more fresh fruits and vegetables in you so you could get healthier in the end. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.